All right, guys, so we all went out and we spent way too much money on a Gladiator, am I right? I mean, these things are expensive. So now we're looking at how we're gonna outfit this thing for the trail or whatever use we may have with it. Some of the things that come to mind is how to maximize your bed storage because the bed is so small. One of the solutions we've come up with is a front MOLLE panel, and what it does is it actually bolts into the factory rail locations and then bolts into the tie downs on the bottom, so it's a no drill installation because I paid $47,000 for this thing. I'm not really that excited to drill a bunch of holes in it, so I'm not gonna do that. From here, you can do a bunch of different things. I have Rotopax cans installed here. You could go without Rotopax cans. You could put a high lift jack, an axe, a shovel on it. You could put one Rotopax can, and over here you could put MOLLE panel bags that you could store things in. You could Velcro your toe straps up there. It's kind of endless on what you're doing. It works with or without the factory rail system. As you notice here, I do not have the factory rail system installed. If you do have the factory rail system, it's going to go right back in there, right in place. It's uninhibited, so you'll still be able to slide your tie downs across it without any issue. So now, I'm going to show you how to install it. Our first Gladiator project, how exciting. So guys, when you open the package, you're going to have 3 panels. These 2 here are actually mirrored, so they're the same. And then you have a center panel, which is substantially larger, like so. Has a logo in the middle as well. From there, you're going to have two bolt packs. You're going to have a high lift mount bolt pack kit, as well as the panel installation kit. From here, you're going to have 2 of these brackets right here. These actually are going to be what mounts around those tie down points, and then 4 brackets right here to mount it across the top. It's all bolt-on installation. I'll show you how to do it. First thing we do is we're going to bolt this panel together. So we're going to be grabbing these 5/16 buttons. They're going to go right through here. You're going to kind of see how they overlap with the other panel, just enough to get the bolts in. Flange nuts on the back. From here, it doesn't matter whether this panel is over the top or behind the center panel. I'm going to set this one up with the panels overlapping the center panel. Okay, one other thing I should mention, this is actually going to be towards the top of the bed. So it's kind of going around the wheel well in the back of the truck. So these go up. Make sure your logo is facing out and not backwards. Put the other side on. All right, before we climb up into the truck and start the installation, I want to talk to you about some of the configurations that you can do on this front bed MOLLE panel. Some of the things that you may not even see that are built into this, so I want to talk about those. First, if you look real carefully right here, you're going to see these 2 slots in that center hole. That's actually to mount a Rotopax mount like this, so that you can mount a Rotopax can horizontally here. They will go up and down as well, but they're going to interfere with the bed rail, the factory sliding system, so it's best if you put them on their side. Although if you do that, 2 cans are going to take up this whole panel. You're not going to have a lot of room for other things. From there, you're going to notice that we have some slots here, 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 and here. Now those are for traction boards. Now we've verified, and MaxTrax do not fit in this bed. Unfortunately, they hit the tie downs and they don't clear. You could probably space them out if you really wanted to run those away from the tie down D-rings that we are going to mount to on the side. If you can get away from those, you can definitely put MaxTrax boards in here. Tread Pro boards, they actually do fit, so I can show you guys how to do that at some point as well. From there, there's one more thing right here. You have 2 holes right here. That's for your high lift jack. So if you decided you want to mount a high lift jack, that's where it's at. It's a predetermined spot because it's pretty tight to fit the high lift jack across there. So it fits the 48-inch high lift jack. That's what this hardware installation kit is. So first I'll show you guys how to do this, and then I'm going to get the panel configured. So we're going to take these carriage bolts and we're going to fish them through right here like so. And then from there we're going to put a washer on and then a flange nut. When you set this up, you're going to want to leave them loose so that you can move them back and forth as you adjust your high lift jack on here. So those are going to go through like that, and then from there, you're going to use this nylon spacer over the high lift jack and then the wing nut. So I'm not actually going to set this panel up this way. I'm going to set it up for Rotopax cans. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out, throw them in a bag, store them for later for when I want to put a high lift jack back there. So I'm going to take my Rotopax PAX mounts. These are not included with the panel. You buy these when you buy your Rotopax containers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt these into the panel like so. And you're going to notice that there's adjustability up and down in these as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and set them right in the middle and snug them up. Now, if you're only wanting to run one Rotopex cans, you can do that. You can run one on either side. I'm actually going to put two on here. So I'm going to throw another container on this side. You can run a 2-gallon container or 3-gallon container. You can stack a couple 2-gallon containers. It really doesn't matter as far as how the distance comes away from the front of the bed, as much as it's going to matter the size. Now, if you wanted to buy the big like one-piece can, we don't have that bolt pattern set up on here. That doesn't mean you couldn't drill it and install it later if you wanted that. We're going to keep it simple and just use individual cans. Okay, 3/16 Allen. That's what we're going to be using to tighten everything up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and snug up these panels together. Using a T47 Torx, we're going to go ahead and take out these little swivel tie-down points because we're going to be using those to mount our panel. So not every Gladiator comes equipped with the rail system. And as you can see, the truck we have actually didn't have that option. So what we've done is we've designed these to work with or without that rail system. What we're going to do is we're going to be putting these little brackets up behind the rail system, or in this case, we're going to bolt them in right here. If you have the rail system, they actually glue it on with some 3M tape, and it's a little tricky to get it off, but what you're going to want to do is you're going to take the little caps off each end. Then you're going to take out these 4 10mm bolts, and then from there you're going to want to take a little bit of a pry bar and you're going to start on this end and pry, and it's going to like pop it loose, pop that side loose, and then just kind of work yourself across. There's actually a little push clip right here and right here that hold the channel in place without any bolts in it, but it is 3M taped on, so it's a little tricky to get it off. Not a big deal though. Once it comes off, it's going to kind of pop off and we can just bolt it back on later. If your Gladiator does have the rail system, you're going to be using the hardware that you uninstall with that rail. You're going to be putting our brackets behind it and then using the same factory hardware for that railing system and bolt it back through. Now, if you're like me and you couldn't afford that rail option, I didn't really get a choice. What you're going to do is you're going to use the hardware we provide. So we have 6mm bolts like this and a washer, and we're just going to bolt it in. Now, if you ever want to add the rail system later, if it ever comes off infinite back order from Mopar, you can actually buy it and bolt it in later right over our panels. Okay, so using this bolt and a 10mm wrench, we're going to go ahead and put these guys in here, get them started like so, and we're just going to snug them up with our fingers for now, and we're going to go ahead and put the other 3 in. So now we're going to go ahead and pull our panel up into place here, but what we have to do before we go any further is we're actually going to want to install these little mounts that are going to go into those tie-down areas. Now, the trick is that these are easier to put on the panel now and get them started than after you have the panel in place and try to wrestle these in and stick your fingers back there and get to the nuts. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 2 of the 5/16 buttons, 2 of the 5/16 nuts, and you're going to bolt these behind the panel like so. Now you're going to see that everything is slotted so that there's adjustability in it. So all we got to do is just get them started so that we're not wrestling ourselves and cursing ourselves and smashing our fingers up and cutting our fingers on the bed liner. We'll just save a hassle on that. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in. You're going to notice that these have adjustability up and down as well, like this, built into the front panel. So for now, I'm just going to put it in the middle and snug it up with my fingers like so. Now do it on the other side. So with the side mounts in place, we're going to pick the panel up and we're just going to kind of set it down in there like that. And now we're going to work on getting these top ones in. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and put a 5/16 button in each one of these, and you're going to reach up behind here oh so carefully and get these bolts started. Same 3/16 Allen we used earlier. And you're just going to go ahead and get these going like so. Now just a reminder, if you're putting the rail system back on, the rail is actually going to be installed already. It's going to be kind of up here. right above where we're working. The rail is going to come right across here like so. This is actually, the rail is going to sit out a little bit further than the panel does. And that's what I was talking about with Max Trax boards, where if you space them away from the panel this way, you're going to gain the clearance you would need down on the bottom to actually fit the Max Trax panel in here. All right, so using the tie down right here, you're going to see that there was a washer on the back side like that. We're going to retain that washer when we put this in. What you're going to see here is everything's loose, everything's movable, so we can go up and down here, we can go up and down here, we can go in and out as in side to side, but we're going to go ahead and get these started back in. Like that. Go ahead and get the other side started as well. Don't forget that washer. So before we go ahead and tighten this down into the side of the wheel well, we're going to want to make sure we eyeball this panel so that it's actually vertical. And so I'm just going to look down this thing and kind of sight it so that it's even with the back of the bedside. And I'm going to go ahead and tighten this guy down. All right, so now you're going to notice the tie down still moves, so you can use that handy little guy. Tighten the other side down. So the next adjustment we have to figure out is going to be the up and down placement of this panel. Since I don't have the rail system in, it doesn't really matter. However, if you do have the rail system, you might have to push this guy down. As you can see, it's all completely adjustable. So I'm going to go ahead and push it all the way down like that. Then I'm going to grab this 3/16 Allen, and I'm going to go ahead and start working my way around, tightening up these bolts. I'm going to start at the bottom down here, tightening these mounts into place. And from there, I'm going to work my way across these four. Now, knowing that these are still loose up here, you just want to make sure you don't get them twisted. Next, 10mm socket to tighten up these four across the top. Okay, like that. So now I have my Rotopex mounts on here. My panel's bolted in. My tie down still swivel. So I'm good to go. I'm going to go ahead and load up the cans, and we're done. All right, so one last thing I have to do on this Gladiator before I take it to Colorado next week. I'm super excited to wheel it. It's the first time I'll be wheeling in this Gladiator, so I'm really excited about that. I know a lot of you guys out there also have trips planned, and you're just biting at the bit, hoping for the aftermarket to bring products like this to you. And we're excited to bring this to you, as well as some other stuff that's going to be coming along shortly. Now, this is a great thing if you want to be able to store gas, or maybe you don't even want to do gas, you don't want to do shovels, axes, you don't need any of that stuff. Maybe you just want to throw on a bike pump and your bike helmet, kind of get it up out of the way. Who knows what else you want to tie down, but it gives you a great solution, nonetheless, to clean up this bed and maximize the space you do have with this new pickup. So anyways, check us out online at JcrOffroad.com. Give us a call at 269-353-1184 or shoot us an email at info@JcrOffroad.com. We'd love to get your truck set up with some MOLLE panels today.